Text checkpoint in VuGen script or in VuGer script. That is the topic of this tutorial video. In this tutorial video, I will cover what is text checkpoint in VuGen script in terms of web HTTP HTML protocol, and I will demonstrate how we can work with the text checkpoint in the VuGen script. Welcome to this tutorial video. So text checkpoint in VuGen script. Checkpoint verifies that whether the expected information appears in an HTTP response. Now, what is HTTP response? HTTP response is the response a server sends back to the client. First, client will send HTTP request to the server, and then server will give response back to the client, and client. These are some prerequisites to demonstrate the text checkpoint. So what is client? Any graphical user interface that end user uses to send HTTP request to the server. The client could be a browser, web browser, could be Google Chrome, Firefox, Safari, any browser, or any app, or any performance testing scripts like VuGen scripts or automation scripts like UFT1 scripts. So these are clients, any graphical user interface that the end user uses to prepare and send HTTP request to the server. That is client. And server is a combination of app servers, database servers. Now that is server. Now what is HTTP request? HTTP request. What is HTTP request? An HTTP request or hypertext transfer protocol request is a method that allows a client like web browser or app to communicate with the server to fetch data or perform actions. So that is the definition of HTTP request. That is the definition how it is written in the book, that HTTP request. So HTTP request has some important components. This is HTTP request. HTTP request has some important components. A first component or first key component or important component would be request line. That is for HTTP request. The request a client sends to the server. That is HTTP request. So that request has many important components. First component is request line. It specifies the HTTP method like get, post, put, delete. So in this example, this get is the method which has been specified out of many. There are many different types of HTTP methods like get, post, put, delete, patch, options, connect, track, etc. So among those list, in this particular example, in this particular example of request line, the get HTTP method is specified, and then the target resource like a path URL. In this example, This is the path and then version being used, and this is the version. So this is an important component of HTTP request, that is request line, and the second important component is header. Metadata about the request is included in the header. It provides additional context or instructions for the server. These are examples. And then third important component is message body, that is optional. And then fourth important component is query parameter, that is also optional. So these are the important components or key components of an HTTP request. So a request is sent from the client to the server, and response is sent from the server to the client. Server will send response to the client. These are the important components of HTTP response. Request line. It includes HTTP version. This is the version. A status code, HTTP status code. This is an example of HTTP status code. And a reason phrase. This is a reason phrase. So this is a status line. In the HTTP response, the response server sends back to the client that has some important components. First important component is a status line. Second important component is header. Third important component is body. Fourth important components, cookies, that is optional. So these are the important components of an HTTP response. So this is some basics before I go for the text checkpoint in load runner script or VuGen script or VuGer script. So now we understand what is client, what is server, and what is HTTP request, and what is HTTP response. HTTP response. Text checkpoint. Text checkpoint. Text checkpoint. This is the topic that I will cover. Text checkpoint. This is what I'm explaining. What is text checkpoint? Checkpoint verifies that whether the expected text string appears in an HTTP response. In an HTTP response. So text checkpoint will check whether the expected text string is present or not in the HTTP response. HTTP response has these are the important components. So text checkpoint will check whether the expected text string is present in the headers or in the body or in the status code. So text checkpoint will verify that. So I have explained what is text checkpoint. Again, I'm giving the definition. Text checkpoint verifies that whether the expected text string is present or not in the HTTP response. So I have explained this one. So I can mark that green. Green means I have explained. Now I will demonstrate the text checkpoint. This is what I will be explaining now. Now I have one script, one load runner script. This is one script. This is the name of the script under this Solution Explorer. Now this is the script. This is the C programming code in the script. This has line 1. The script starts with line 1 and ends with line 111. So this script has total 111 lines of code. Now, how many functions this script has? This is a function, web add header. This is another function, web add auto header. This is another function, web add header. If I scroll down, this is a function that is for correlation. This is another function that is for web URL. This is another function, web set sockets option. That is the name of the function. This is the one parameter. This is another parameter, or this is the argument which has been sent to this function. For the first parameter, this is the second argument which has been sent or used in this function call. So this is another function which is called, now do question. Do question. Do all the functions send HTTP request to the server? Does this function send request to the server? No. This function adds a header to the HTTP request. If we go to the HTTP request, this is the HTTP request. Request has request line, header, message body, and then query parameter. These are the important components of HTTP request. One important component is header. So this function, web add header function, will add a header which will be used in the all subsequent requests to the server. Subsequent request means if the script has 5 functions that send HTTP request. Let me count how many functions in the HTTP request. How many functions this script has, this VuGen script has, which send request to the server. So this function does not send request to the server. This function does not send request to the server. This function just prepare the remaining requests which are available in the test flow. This function will also prepare request of the remaining requests which are present in this test flow. So this function does not send request. This function does not send request. This function also does not send request. Let me scroll down. This function does not send request to the server. This function is used for correlation. If I scroll down, this is one function that I have found at line number 28, that a function which sends HTTP request to the server. So this function sent HTTP request to the server 1. This function does not send. This function does not send. This function sends HTTP request to the server. So there are 2 so far functions that send HTTP request to the server. If I scroll down, this function is for specifying that the transaction is started. So this function does not send request to the server. It is for specifying the transaction. This function also does not send request to the server. This function does not. This function does not. This function does not. This function does not. This function sends request to the server. So this is number 3. I have found from line number 1 to line number 77, I have found that there are so many functions. Only 3 of those send HTTP request to the server. Others do some other activities. Some prepare request for the following function. Some is used for correlation. Some is used for specifying the transactions. Then some other activities are done but does not send request to the server. I have found only 3 functions that send request to the server from line number 1 to line number 77. If I scroll down, this function does not send request, this function does not, this function does not, this function does not. This function sends request to the server. So total 4 functions that I have found. So total 4 functions. 4 functions sends HTTP request to the server. Others does not. So I have found total 4 functions that send HTTP request to the server. And each HTTP request has a response. Request has a response, HTTP response. So all those 4 functions, which send HTTP request to the server will also receive a response from the server for that request. Now text checkpoint verifies whether the expected information is present or not in the HTTP response. And HTTP response has four important things. One is the status line, other one is headers, other one is body, and then cookies. That is optional. Now text checkpoint will check whether the expected text string is present here or not. Now what function is used for text checkpoint? I can ask Copilot what function is used for text in VuGen script. It says web reg find. That is the function is used for text checkpoint. So I know the name. I know the name of the function. That is web underscore reg underscore find. This is the function which is used for text checkpoint. Now text checkpoint verifies whether the expected information appears in an expected location of a expected location of the HTTP response. And the immediate HTTP response. This script has 4 requests. Therefore, there will be 4 responses. Does this function checks all 4 responses? No. It will check to the next available function which send request to the server. Now, if I write here, let's say I use web reg find function on line number 98. If I insert web underscore reg underscore find function, then it will check the next available function which send request to the server, HTTP request to the server. That request response will be verified by this function. So what is the next available function that send request to the server? Let's say, what if I write at line number 98 web reg find function, then the next function is lr think time at line number 99, but this function does not send request to the server. Then it is not the next available function that send request to the server. Then what is the next one? At line number 101, there is another function called web underscore image. This sent request to the server by clicking on an image. So it will verify the response of this particular function, not all four functions. What if I scroll up, what if I write here, what if I write web reg find function? Then the next available function that sends HTTP request to the server is this one. So the response received by the load runner script from the server, in that response, the WebReg find function will check. So basically, WebReg find function, what I'm saying that WebReg find function is applicable to the next available function which send HTTP request, not all. WebReg find function is only applicable to next available function that send HTTP request to the server. So not all. In this particular example, even though there are 4 functions, among many functions, there are 4 functions which send HTTP request to the server, but WebRec find function will check only one request which is available next to that function. So now, if I see the graphical user interface of this application, this is the application. Just to launch the browser and load this page, just to launch the browser and load this particular page, this many functions from line number 1 to line number 54. All these functions are used in the VuGen script just to launch the browser and load this particular web page. If I see how many functions, this is one, this is another one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think around 10, 11, 12 functions just to launch the browser and load this landing page. And those 11, 12 functions only 1 and 2 functions, only 2 functions that send request to the server. So just to launch the browser and load the landing page, there are 10, 11 or 12 around functions are used in the VuGen script. Among those, there were 2 functions that sent 2 HTTP requests to the server. Now that's from, now after login, now I have given that start transaction that I want to log in, and then I logged in using user ID and password. And after login, I put the end transaction. So line number 95, and if I scroll up, line number 58. From 58, line number 58, that is the start transaction, and 95, 94, I guess. let me see, 95. 95. So, and that is the end transaction. This portion, this many functions got recorded just to doing this. I have entered my name here, put the password, and clicked on login. Just to log in, these are the functions has been recorded, and it has sent. This is one HTTP request, and only one HTTP request has been sent for this particular transaction or for this particular activities. Just to log in, and then after login, just to click on log out. 1 2 3 4 4 function has been recorded. 1 2 3 4 4 functions has been recorded. Just to click on login. Now I want to put a checkpoint for this Imran. I want to put a text checkpoint for this Imran. So where I will put the function that logs in. Now which function logs in? This function logs out. This function make a HTTP request which logs out. If I scroll up, this function makes a request that logs in. I give the user ID, give the password, and login. So this is a function, load runner function, that sends HTTP request which logs the system, which logs into this Web2 applications. Now, before this HTTP request, what is the another request before this request? If I scroll up, this is not HTTP request. This is not HTTP request. This is not HTTP request. This is also not HTTP request. If I scroll up, this is also not HTTP request. This is not HTTP request. This is not HTTP request. And this is another HTTP request. This is HTTP request. This is a function. This is the function name. This is the input arguments which are called. This is where the function call ends. So this is a function which has been called at line number 45, which that function call ended and at line number 54. So these functions send HTTP request to the server. So I can put or insert that WebRecSave function, WebRecFind function. I can put this function, WebRecFind function, anywhere from line number 54 till line number 77. So anywhere from line number 54 to 77, I can insert that function. I can insert on line number 76, or I can insert on line number 74 or 1, anywhere after the previous HTTP request till this current HTTP request, because this is the request that logs in. Therefore, this page loads. After login, only this page loads. So I need to specify that the Imran, the text Imran should present. The text Imran should present in the response of this HTTP request. This function send HTTP request. Therefore, this function also receives a HTTP response. That response, the WebRecFind function will validate. So I have decided that I will put just before. I can put anywhere after the previous HTTP request, which ends at line number 54. So from line number 55 till line number 77, anywhere I can put that WebRecFind function. That function, web_reg_find function. Anywhere I can put. So I can type it, or I can use the built-in feature of this tool to insert. So I will be using the built-in feature. So I have identified that line number 76, this is where I will put, because I need to tell the script first, then script will apply to the next function that sends HTTP request. So if I write at line number 76, if I tell a script that the string you will verify, that would be Imran, and it will verify to the next HTTP request, which is at line number 77. So I have decided that at line number 76, this is where I will insert. So how I will insert? I can click on design, insert in a script, new step I clicked. This module of this tool showed up. In the search, I can write web underscore reg underscore find. This is the function I need to use. So I will be double clicking on this, double click. Before double clicking, let me close again. I have to make sure that the cursor is present in this line. Cursor is present in line number 76, because this is where I want to insert. Now in the search box, I write web underscore reg underscore find. Now I'll be clicking on web underscore reg underscore find, double click. Now it says search for a specific text. Which text I want to search? I want loader script to verify whether the Imran text is present in the response or not. So I will be writing Imran. IMRAN. It says, is it match cases? Means, is it case sensitive, uppercase, lowercase? Will it match exactly? If it is checked, it will match uppercase. It will be case sensitive. If it is unchecked, then it will be non-case sensitive. So let it like this. Imran, this is the text I want to. Imran, this is the text I want to verify in the response. I want the loader script verifies that this particular string is present in the HTTP response. And if it will, this will check the exact string. If I choose this one, then I can say it starts with and ends with, but I will be checking the exact string. So this checkbox, and then search in. I clicked on there, search in where it will search. All, body or header. If I see the HTTP response has headers, body, a status line, and cookies. So if I choose all, most likely it will check everything. If I choose header, it will only check whether the Imran is present in the header or not. If I choose body, it will only check if the text Imran is present in the body or not. So all, body, header. So I will be choosing all because I want, that is what I want, that if the text Imran is present anywhere in the response, whether it is in the status line, header, body, cookies, anywhere, then it founds. And save count, how many times it found. If the text Imran is present one time in header and one time in body, then it founds total 2 occurrence. If the text Imran is present 3 times in header and 3 times in body, then there are total 6 occurrences. Means 6 times Imran is present in the response. So it will say the count, how many times the text Imran is present in the HTTP response. And that will be stored in a load runner parameter. So I can give a parameter name. P means parameter count. COUNT count. This is the parameter name. I have given a parameter name. So under this parameter, the count will be saved and fail. When it will be failed? If not found, then will be failed, or if found, then will be failed. Then that I can specify. So if Imran text is not found in the response, then it will show failure. If it finds, then it will show pass. So these are the things I have specified. Now if I click on OK, again I'm saying again one more time, this will check the exact string value, and it will check the uppercase lowercase as well, and it will check everything in the response. It will check in status line, headers, body, cookies, everything that is received by the load runner script from the server. Anything that server sends to the load runner script will verify everywhere whether the Imran string is Imran text string is present or not. And say it will count how many times the text Imran is present, and it will say fail if not found at all. If it finds one time or two time or three times, then it is passed. So that is what I have specified. Now if I click on OK, I will see that function getting inserted in line number 76. Clicking on OK, it got this is the it got inserted. This function got inserted. Even though I checked 76, it got actually inserted in 78. It's between this function and this function. It got inserted between this function and this function. So this is the function where break find function got inserted. That is the function I have said, where break find function. Where break find function got inserted. It says it specified when it will fail if not found, and it will check everywhere in the response. It will check in the headers, body, response line, that's called response line, status line. So everywhere it will check. And then there is a parameter, load runner parameter called pcount. Under this, it will save. Now, if I want to print the pcount's value, if I want to print pcount's value, where I will be writing. So this is where I have tell the load runner script that you will check Imran text is present or not in the following response. So this request will have a response. The following function which send HTTP request, that request will have a response. In that response, load runner script will verify whether Imran string is present or not, and it will check everywhere in the response, and the count, how many times the text Imran is present in the response, will be present under this parameter, will be assigned under this parameter. So first I'm telling the load runner script to check, and then I am sending the HTTP request, which will have a response. So after the response, the load runner script received, then only load runner script can tell how many times the text Imran is present in the response. So first I will tell, second I will let the load runner script make the call, sending the HTTP request and receiving the HTTP response, which is called called a call. So the load runner script will make a call, HTTP call, means sending HTTP request and receiving HTTP response. After that, I will write C programming code just to print the value. So I can say, so this is where the function ends, which made HTTP request. This is the web submit data function. This is the name of the function. These are the input arguments, and this is where the send. And so here I can write, after the function call ends, after this function call ends, which send HTTP request and receive HTTP response, which is called a server call. So after the HTTP function call ends, I can print here. I can say lr output message, first bracket, double quote. I will say count is percentage s, because it's a string. comma lr lr eval string double quote and the parameter name, that is pcount, second bracket in double quote and bracket end return semicolon. Hope I did not make any typical mistake here. So this line number 100, this line will print how many times the text Imran is present in the HTTP response. The count is percentage is, let me save it. So I have inserted the text checkpoint. I have inserted just before the response, just before the request, which response will be validated. And after the response, I have written how many times the expected text is present in the response. Let me run it and see what happens. Oh, I haven't opened the server. Therefore, the script will fail because this script uses this application which runs with this particular server. If the server is not launched, that script will fail. But script I'm running in the virtual machine. So in the virtual machine also needs to have that server. The topic is already covered. How to put text checkpoint in the loader script after recording, that which I have already covered. So I can mention this one done. So the topic that I decided that I will mention in this tutorial video is already covered. Now this is extra that I'm doing. It failed because the server is not open. Now I will have to run again. I will run again, but before running, I will open the server. The server might get blocked by firewall. Let me see if it blocks by firewall or not. So script passes. If I see the output, output and scroll up, I will see the count is 2. So the text Imran has been found 2 times and therefore it is passed. If I want to change, let's say I do not want the loader script verify the entire response. I want it will verify only in the body. So I can select the function, right click, and I will say show arguments and search in here. Instead of all, I will say body. So the function, this particular function will only verify the body of the response and check whether the text Imran is present in the body or not. It will ignore headers, status line, and other things that HTTP response sends. It will only check the body. Click on OK. Now it will change to body. Now if I run it, I will see the count will change. I know that the count will change because Imran text is present one time in header and another time in body. Therefore, when I choose all, it count was 2. But now the count should be 1 because it is only checking in body, and it will find one time and it will say 1 here. Running it. Now if I scroll up in the output, then I will see the count is 1. I want that. So I have explained everything. I have demonstrated this. So thank you for watching this tutorial video.